A show that demands nothing less than perfection. Behind this screen, our four contestants will be hoping their knowledge is flawless because one single mistake could give the game away. This is perfection. Hello and welcome to Perfection, the quiz show where only perfect play is good enough. Behind me are the contestants. We call them the usual suspects. They're in our isolation room. In a moment, we'll find out which one of them has been randomly selected to join me here to play Perfection. They will then face a series of true or false statements. For example, if I said the Atacama Desert is located in South America, would you say that's true or false? Well, if you'd said true, I can tell you you'd be right. Answering true or false might seem easy, but if the contestant gets a single answer wrong, their opponents, the usual suspects, will be allowed into the game to capitalise on their mistakes. So, you know how the game works. Let's meet the usual suspects.
Hello, my name is Sue. I'm from Derby. I'm a retired midwife, and this is my first game.
My name's Shelley. I'm from Norfolk, and I'm a payroll assistant, and this is my second game.
Hi, my name's Becky. I'm from Pontefract. I'm a public house manager and this is my fifth game.
I'm Simon from Plymouth. I'm a bartender and this is my sixth game.
Welcome to you all, especially Sue, who joins us for the first time, and best of luck as we now find out which one of you has been randomly selected to play Perfection. Sue, it's you. Seat number 1 strikes again. Please come and join me. Sue, welcome to the game. Let's find out a little bit more about you. A midwife.
I was, yes.
What an amazing job to bring new people into the world. And you've actually delivered your own grandchildren as well.
I have, yes. I delivered the first one and just went out the room and I'm a grandma, look. So,
very nice. Bit more pressure. Is there more pressure when it's actually your own family, do you think?
Not really, because it's my daughter-in-law. So, but we've got a good relationship and she trusted me, so...
Well, you'd have to. You got to know her a lot more closely than I think most daughter-in-laws would want to be known by mother-in-law. Anyway, look, so it's lovely to have you here. It's great work that you do. But you are in a competition now. It's now you versus the usual suspects. They were very briefly your teammates. Now, believe me, they're your enemies. Their job is to stop you from winning the prize fund because your failure will mean the prize money rolls over to the next game where one of them could be sitting here playing for a bigger total. So, every game on Perfection is worth £1,000. Here's the good news. Nobody's won the last 5 games, so the prize fund currently stands at £6,000. Now, that would be nice. What are you going to spend that on if you get a chance?
Well, I'm going to Canada for 4 months this year.
4 months?
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Well, my youngest son's in Vancouver, so we're going to Toronto and then travelling across the country.
OK, so that money will go towards that.
So I would go and see grizzly bears catching salmon north of BC.
Good for you. All right, here's how the game works. You'll play 3 rounds and then a final. Every round that you achieve perfection will make the final easier for you. However, if your performance is anything less than perfect, the usual suspects here will have a chance to step in and steal the round, making the final that much harder. Usual suspects, we're going to switch you off for now so you can't see or hear anything. Each round consists of 4 true or false statements. You'll be answering against the clock. You'll only have 45 seconds. And once you've given your answer, your first answer, they'll be locked in. Understand?
I do, yes.
If you're ready, let's play Perfection. Round 1, your 45 seconds start now. In 1962, rodeo was declared Chile's national sport. Is that true or false?
Well, I would have thought that was false.
Are you saying false?
I am saying it's false. It's not a sport.
False.
It's
OK. Hamburgers derive their name from the city of Hamburg.
Oh, dear. True.
True. What's the time now? Sci-fi author Arthur C. Clarke walked on the moon.
No, that's false.
False. And finally, Esther Ranson was married to John Thor.
No, she wasn't. That's false.
False. And eventually, with time to spare, how was that for a round?
That's not too bad, I think, but I'm not sure about all of them.
All right, before we reveal exactly how well you've done, it's time to bring back the usual suspects. So, usual suspects, these were the 4 statements, and next to them are Sue's answers. What do you make of them, Simon?
I think Sue's done really well, actually. I think she's achieved perfection.
Do you think so? Wow, Becky, what do you think?
I think A and B are wrong.
A and B are wrong. OK, Shelley, what do you think?
I think the last 2 are OK, but I'm not sure about A and B.
OK, you need to have answered all 4 statements perfectly to have won the round. Let's see how many are correct. Well, 3 out of 4 isn't bad, Sue, but unfortunately it's
Not good enough.
Yeah, quite right. Quite right. It's not perfection. As a result, you've let in the usual suspects. They just need to change one of your answers, but which one?
It's B, but I don't think is right.
No. I mean, it's unlikely,
just
isn't it?
seems too
B.
obvious, doesn't it? Hamburgers from Hamburg.
See, I don't know. I swear I read it somewhere,
Okay.
but I'm not sure. What were your thoughts on A?
I don't actually know.
No?
No, I was just thinking where Chile is and whether or not they're into cowboys and things like that. 1962? Don't know.
Okay.
Go on, Captain.
Right.
Yeah, that kind of petered out, didn't it? In the discussion of where to go with it. I think they're just piling it back on you, Simon.
That's fine. Okay. I'd like to change A from false. Oh, sorry. I'll go with my team and say change B from true to false, please.
Change B from true to false, leaving A, C and D as answered by Sue, and in the process blaming the team for the decision you just took along the way. Interesting tactic, Simon. OK, so, usual suspects, let's find out what the correct answers are. In 1962, rodeo was declared Chile's national sport. Is that true or false? It's true. Simon, you almost got there and then changed your mind at the last
My
minute.
team let me down. Yeah.
Oh, I see, it works both ways, does it? That's the nice thing about making decisions that way. Did you manage to achieve perfection at home? Let's carry on through those answers and work them through, shall we? Hamburgers derive their name from the city of Hamburg. Is that true or false? It is actually true. Sci-fi author Arthur C. Clarke walked on the moon. Is that true or false? No, it's false. It's complete
false.
poppycock. Yes, absolutely. His notable works include 2001, A Space Odyssey, so he was kind of space-linked, but no, never walked on the moon. Esther Ransom was married to John Thor. True or false? Yeah, false. She was married to Desmond Wilcox.
Yeah.
Sue, appearing before your very eyes is your final board. These 6 blank spaces need to be filled with subject categories. Here are the final round category options, starting with musicals, running through Royal Yachts, Lobsters, Berlin Wall, and onto the Tube, with many more in between. Now, had you achieved perfection, you would now have the opportunity of adding 2 categories of your choice to the board. But because neither side won the round, the 2 categories that were due to be chosen will now be carried over to the next round, meaning 4 categories will be on offer then. Usual suspects, you had an opportunity there, but you didn't really grasp it, did you? Maybe you'll do better in round 2. We'll see you then. Bye-bye. So now they've gone, looking at those subject categories, which ones are you quite keen to avoid?
George Osborne, Asia.
George Osborne and Asia, and ones that you'll be choosing first given the opportunity.
Canada. Perhaps musicals.
OK, you ready to carry on?
Yes, OK.
Then let's play round 2. Your 45 seconds start now. Brett Anderson found fame as the singer of Suede.
Oh, for goodness sake. True.
True.
Never heard of him.
Julius Caesar was once captured by pirates.
False.
False. Africa has coastline on the Pacific Ocean.
No, that's false.
False. And finally, Jimmy Greaves scored over 40 goals for England.
He probably did, because he scored quite a lot, didn't he? Well, he played football, so I suppose he must have scored the goals. True.
What are you saying?
True.
True. Thank you very much. You had me worried for a second there. I thought we were so
I
deep
was
in
talking
conversation.
myself out of it, really.
Yeah, well, I was worried because you were so deep in conversation, we
Yeah.
weren't going to get to an answer.
Sorry.
How was that as a round? You didn't seem to be enjoying that at all.
No, I didn't at all, really. I've never heard of Brett Anderson.
OK, well, look, before we reveal how well you've done, time to bring back those usual suspects. Hello, usual suspects. These are the 4 statements, and next to Masu's answers. Let's start with Shelley this time. Has she achieved perfection?
I'm not sure about C, so I'd probably change false to true on C.
Becky?
The only one I've got doubts about would be D, Jimmy Greaves.
Simon?
I'm on the same page. I think D should be changed from true to false.
OK, Sue, the moment of truth. Let's find out how many you've got correct. Three out of 4 is not bad. It's consistent too, to be fair. As a result, the usual suspects are back in the game. You only need to change one of the 4, but which one?
Africa definitely doesn't have a coast on the Pacific Ocean.
Go
I'm going to
D.
stay with D.
Yeah.
Are you two happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'd like to change D from true to false, please, Nick.
D changes from true to false, leaving A, B, and C as answered by Sue. Usual suspects, let's find out what the correct answers are. Brett Anderson found fame as the singer of Suede. Is that true or false? That's true. And Sue, you pretended not to know that.
What's a guess?
Julius Caesar was once captured by pirates. Is that true or false? It's true. I wonder whether you can still achieve perfection at home. Let's carry on through those statements and answers, shall we? Africa has coastline on the Pacific Ocean. True or false? Yeah, that is false. It has Atlantic and Indian Ocean and, of course, the Mediterranean Sea. And finally, Jimmy Greaves scored over 40 goals for England. Is that true or false? It is true. 44 in only 57 matches. That's a fantastic strike rate. Let's have a look at the board. It's like a desert up there. There's nothing chosen so far. Because neither side won the round, the 4 categories that were due to be chosen, 2 from the first round and 2 from the second round, will now be carried over to the third round, meaning all 6 categories will be on offer in round 3. So that'll be a cracking one to win. Usual suspects, you've had 2 chances to nick it and you haven't yet. I wonder whether you'll get an opportunity in round 3. That's when we'll see you next. Bye-bye. Obviously, this will be a good one to win. Ready?
Yes.
Okay, let's play round 3. Your 45 seconds start now. The London Broncos is an American football team.
That's a bit obscure, really, but yeah, I'll say true.
True. The composer, Edward Elgar, was born in Germany.
No, I think that's false. I've no idea where he was born.
False.
I wasn't at his delivery.
David Cameron's brother is also an MP.
I'll say false. I didn't know he'd got a brother.
False. And finally, a scalene triangle has 3 sides of unequal length.
Well, that's true.
True. Not very happy with the questions again.
No, not really.
Do you want me to have a word with the person setting them?
Yes, I would, please.
All right,
Thank
then I'll
you.
do that after the show. Before we reveal how well you've done, it's time to bring back the usual suspects. So these were the 4 statements, and next to them are Sue's answers. Becky, what do you think?
A could possibly be false. London Broncos seems to remind me of a rugby union club of some sort, so I would change A from true to false.
Shelley, what do you think?
I'm not sure about A and B.
Simon?
I think A could be wrong. Other than that, I think she's done all right.
Sue, the moment of truth. Let's find out how many you've got correct. Well, again, consistent,
dear.
close, but not quite there. Once again, you failed to achieve perfection. This is the last chance for anyone to please win a round. Usual suspects, can you steal it? You can see Sue's answers. You need to change just one answer. Which one?
I'm sure I've seen A when I've been looking at rugby union.
It could well be, but I'm just...
If the captain wants to say A, then you can blame the captain.
If I've got the spot on my
Can't
team,
pass
I
the
will.
book again.
Okay, should we agree on A?
A.
Sure.
A.
Can we change A from true to false, please, Nick?
You can change A from true to false, leaving B, C, and D as answered by Sue. You'll have noticed, though, Simon, when you said, can we agree on it? Shelley didn't say anything at all. She's not joining in this time. Usual suspects, let's find out what the correct answers are. The London Broncos is an American football team. Is that true or false? It's false. Very well done. Rugby league. So you're right about rugby, Becky, but wrong code. Rugby league team. The composer Edward Elgar was born in Germany. Is that true or false? It is false. Oddly, he was born in Broadheath, Hereford and Worcester. David Cameron's brother is also an MP. Is that true or false? Yeah, that's false. He's actually a barrister. And finally, a scalene triangle has 3 sides of unequal length. True or false? It's true. Congratulations, usual suspects. You have achieved perfection. Bad luck, Sue. The usual suspects have succeeded where you failed and they've stolen the round. Let's see the final board. Because you won the round, usual suspects, you've earned the right to choose all 6 categories to go into the final. So, which 6 would you like Sue to play in the final?
What about Royal Yachts?
And lobsters seems a good.
Okay, can we have Royal Yachts and Lobsters, please?
Royal Yachts and Lobsters go into the final.
What about singles?
Okay, and singles as well, please.
Singles goes in.
Possibly Dracula.
Dracula, please, Nick.
Dracula goes into the final. 2 more, please.
Tube. Yeah.
Tube as well, please.
The Tube goes in. I need 1 more to make up the 6.
George Osborne.
Possibly. You happy with George Osborne then?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go for George Osborne then.
George Osborne goes into the final. We now know our 6 final categories. They are Royal Yachts, Lobsters, Singles, Dracula, The Tube, and George Osborne. It's time to switch you off. We'll see you in the final. What do you make of what they've chosen for you? We said you didn't want George Osborne. You got it.
They're very obscure, aren't they, really?
Yeah, you're in with a chance, though. You're always in with a chance, though, Sue, surely.
Yeah.
For £6,000? That was a pregnant pause.
I was expecting that.
It's time to play the final. So this is the all-important final. If you can achieve perfection, you could be leaving with a prize fund of £6,000. If you fail, you'll be leaving with nothing, which would be great news for the usual suspects, as one of them could be playing for a rollover of £7,000 on the next game. Let's play the final round, shall we? Sue, here are your final 6 categories. They are Royal Yachts, Lobsters, Singles, Dracula, The Tube, and George Osborne. Now, you must answer all 6 statements correctly if you want to win the £6,000. Think carefully, there's no time limit, but once you've given an answer, your first answer, it's locked in. Are you ready?
Yes, okay.
Then let's reveal your first statement. Royal Yachts. The first Royal Yacht was called Mary.
I think I will say true, because that's the first thing that came into my head. I don't know.
True. Lobsters. Scientists believe lobsters can live to over 50.
That is true, because they are indestructible. If they get fed and they're not caught and plunged into a boiling pan, they will live forever.
So you're saying true?
It's true.
Singles. Queen sold more singles in the UK than ABBA.
Oh, dear. Well, I didn't buy them, that's for sure. I would say that was false, really, because there's a lot of ABBA singles.
False. Dracula. Count von Count is a character in the novel Dracula.
I would say that was false. That's a rather silly name, isn't it?
False. The Tube. London's Tube has first-class carriages.
No, it doesn't, I don't think, because there's not a different scale of ticket prices. You just buy a ticket and stand up. So I would say that was false.
False. And finally, George Osborne. George Osborne once worked in Selfridges.
Maybe he did. So we'll say true. I
True.
don't know why, but maybe he did.
And with that, Sue, those answers are locked in.
Are they?
Not very happy with them?
No, not really.
What would you have liked me to ask you about? Because I feel awful there.
Well, I'm glad you're taking some responsibility. And I will blame you totally if I don't win at all. Yeah.
OK, remember, if there's one single mistake, you leave nothing. So let's bring back the usual suspects to see what they have to say. Usual suspects, you can now see the final 6 statements, and next to them are Sue's answers. Sue, your answers are locked in and you can't change them by yourself. But if you think you've made a mistake, you can change them with the help of the usual suspects. This will, however, come at a cost. Sue, who would you like to hear from first?
Shall I?
I think you've done quite well, but there's 2 that I think you've got wrong. One I'm sure I know the answer of, the other I'm not as confident. I don't think I'll come down today, sorry.
OK, Shelley's not offering any help. Who would you like to hear from next?
Becky?
There's 2 that I know you've got wrong, but after saying that, the other 4, I'm not convinced that I know the answer.
So where does that leave you, Becky?
I'd have to come down for at least half the money.
So you would come down for £3,000 of the £6,000, is that what you're saying?
I would, yes.
Oh, well, there is an option there. Do you want to hear from Simon before
Yes.
you decide?
Simon, what have you got to say?
I'm going to rule myself out.
OK, so Simon's not prepared to come down, and nor is Shelley, but Becky is prepared to come down for £3,000 of your £6,000.
Come on, then.
You do want to come down for £3,000, yes, Becky?
Yes.
OK, for £3,000 of the £6,000 on offer, Becky, please come and join us. OK, Sue, you've asked Becky for help. If you achieve perfection, it will cost you £3,000 of your £6,000 prize fund. Becky, you've now forfeited your chance to play in the next game. This is your only shot at winning perfection. Have you made the right decision? I think we're about to find out. Here are the final round statements. Becky, which answers do you want Sue to change?
I'm not confident, but I did look at C and D, and I would have been more inclined to say true on those.
Now, Queen, you see, I'm not sure really, because were ABBA's
Singles.
were they not singles? I suddenly thought afterwards.
Queen have a lot of singles,
Well,
though,
Bohemian
didn't they?
Rhapsody
And they
went on
spanned.
for ages, didn't it?
Did they span more decades, Queen? That's my thinking behind it. I
Yeah,
thought
well,
they
you
were
might
around for
well be right
longer.
there. I think that was, yeah, I mean, I might have been a little bit hasty there.
Count von Count, I thought was a character in Dracula, and then I thought it might have been that Count Duckula that I was thinking.
I was just going to say, actually, he does sound like a cartoon character, really, rather than something out
So
of
I
Dracula,
might have got
doesn't
that
he?
wrong.
Yeah. So, do you think we should change C and D then?
Well, Sue, remember, it is still your decision. So what do you fancy changing, if at all?
We'll change C from
C-
false to true.
C from false to true. Anything else?
Yeah, D. Count
Shall we
von
stick with
Count.
false? It sounds really ridiculous, doesn't it?
I can see something in Duckula, not Dracula. So I'd
Yeah.
stick with false.
I'm going to stick with false.
Lock the others in.
Okie doke.
Okay, all the other answers remain the same. Your answers are now locked in. £6,000 at stake, £3,000 to Sue, £3,000 to Becky. 6 answers away. Let's find out if you've achieved perfection. So, let's start at the top, shall we? The first royal yacht was called Mary. You need this to turn green to get you off to a good start. So, is it true or false? It's true. Very good. Well, that's a good start. What are you going to spend the money on, by the way? £3,000. We haven't talked about that. Becky, what are you going to spend the money on? If you
My children have told me it's going in the Disneyland fund.
the Disneyland fund,
Yes.
of course, and of course, Sue, you want to go travelling off to Canada, don't you?
Yeah, I want to see the grizzly bears.
Yeah. So let's carry on. Scientists believe lobsters can live to over 50. You said this was true. Is it true or false? It is true. This next one's kind of crucial, isn't it? Because you wouldn't have had the chance to change it if it wasn't for Becky coming down. So we'll skip over that one and go on to Count von Count, which is the one that you were thinking about changing but didn't. Count von Count is a character in the novel Dracula. You said this was false, Sue, because you thought it sounded daft. Becky thought it might be from Dracula, then changed her mind and thought it might be from Duckula, a cartoon character. In the end, you decided to stick with false. So, is that true or false? It's false. Very well played. Actually, a character in Sesame Street.
Oh, is it?
I knew it were a children's programme.
So we move on. London's Tube has first-class carriages. You said this was false, Sue. Is it true or false? It is false. Oddly enough, originally there were first-class carriages, but not for a long time. So, George Osborne once worked in Selfridges. Could this possibly be true? Sue, you thought it was daft enough that it might be. This was pretty much a 50-50 guess, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If this turns green, you are just one away from taking away the £6,000, £3,000 each. Is that true or false?
I can't look. I can't look.
I'm looking.
You're looking.
I'm looking.
It's true.
That's even worse.
So we come back to that one, and this is the really interesting one, of course, because Sue, what you have is 5 out of 6 at the moment, and what we need to find out now is whether you had a completely correct card and you changed away from it by Becky coming down, or whether Becky coming down has actually helped win you the money and indeed win Becky the money as well. There's £6,000 resting on this one question. Queen sold more singles in the UK than ABBA. You originally said this was false. You changed it to true. If this turns red, you've lost the money. If it turns green, you're walking away with £3,000 each. Is it true or false for £6,000?
Come on.
It's true. Congratulations. You have achieved perfection. You have won £6,000. Congratulations. Very well done. Well. So it was actually well worth Becky coming down to help change, and between you managed to work it out. So Sue, you take home £3,000 of our prize fund, and Becky, you take home £3,000 of the prize fund. So it seems like the Disneyland fund is nice and plump.
Yes, there'll be 2 happy children in Pontefract tonight.
And you'll be on your way to see the Grizzlies, I'm sure, as a result. Now, unfortunately for you, usual suspects, the prize fund has been won, so we reset the total back to £1,000 for our next game. Congratulations, Sue and Becky, you achieved perfection, and as a result, you've walked away with the cash. Let's hear it for Sue and Becky, everybody. Right, it's now time to meet the next usual suspects, hoping to play perfection today. New usual suspects, please introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name's Dan and I'm from Fulham in London and I'm retired.
Hello, I'm Richard from Bournemouth and I'm a proposals engineer.
Welcome to you both and good luck to all of you as we now find out which one of you has been randomly picked to play perfection. Richard, it's you. Please come down and join me. Richard, welcome to the game. Let's find out a bit more about you. I understand you travel quite a lot.
I do, yes. I'm big into sort of VW vans and I like just the fresh air of it all and the
Open
beach.
road and pull up wherever you like.
Exactly, yeah, it's perfect.
All right, well, Richard, it's now you versus the usual suspects. They were your teammates. They're now your enemies. Every game on perfection is worth £1,000. Unfortunately for you, the previous game was won, so the prize fund is reset to £1,000. So what do you spend it on?
Probably some new wheels for the camper van, I expect.
Is that right?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Are they expensive?
Probably about £1,000, I'd imagine, yeah.
Okay, that's perfect. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, 3 rounds of the final to come. Usual suspects, we're going to switch you off for now, so you can't see or hear anything, but as soon as Richard makes a mistake, you'll be back in the game. You ready?
I am ready.
Then let's get started and play perfection. Round 1, your 45 seconds start now. On a standard traffic light, green is at the bottom.
Yes, I think that's true. Green is at the bottom.
True. Sheikh Yamani is a holiday resort in Egypt.
I'll just be guessing at that, so I'll say false.
False. St. Patrick's Day occurs in March.
I think that's true, yeah, St. Patrick's Day in March.
True. And finally, Britain took part in the Crimean War.
I think that's true.
True. And with time to spare, you've answered all 4 statements. Well, that felt very confident.
Did it?
Did it not feel confident?
I've no idea. We'll wait and see, I think.
All right, before we reveal exactly how well you've done, it's time to bring back the usual suspects. So these were the 4 statements, and next to them are Richard's answers. Simon, has he achieved perfection?
I think he has, yeah. I wouldn't change any answers.
Shelley, do you agree?
Yes, I think he's done very well. I don't think I would change any answers. Well done.
OK. Welcome, Dan. Can you see anything wrong with these?
I'm not 100% sure on question B, but not enough to challenge it really. So, yeah, I think he's probably achieved perfection.
OK. Richard, the moment of truth. Let's find out how many are correct. Congratulations, Richard, you have achieved perfection. Well, that's a cracking start. Let's take a look at those answers and statements in more detail. On a standard traffic light, green is at the bottom. We now know that that is true. Sheikh Yamani is a holiday resort in Egypt. You said that was false, and of course it is false. He was OPEC's oil leader for a number of years. St. Patrick's Day occurs in March. You said that was true, and of course we now know that it is true. And Britain took part in the Crimean War, which you also said was true, and we now know is true. So, this is your final board. These 6 blank spaces need to be filled with subject categories, and here are your final round category options, starting with time, running through race courses, Oscars, and on to wine, with many more in between. Now, because you won the round, you've earned the right to choose 2 categories to add to the board. So, which 2 would you like to play in the final?
Right. Beards is a strange one to start with. I suppose Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig goes into the final, and
80s music.
80s music. Usual suspects. You didn't get a look in there, but we'll see you in round 2. Cheerio, and away they go. Richard, now the usual suspects have gone. Let's have a look at that list. Which 2 are you keen to avoid?
I don't know, it's all a bit of a mixed bunch, really. I'm not even sure on the ones I've chosen, to be honest. So whatever will be, will be. So I'll take anything, really.
All right, then. Richard, you made a great start to the game. If you're ready, let's press on and play round 2. Your 45 seconds start now. Gordon Brown has written a book of fairy tales. True or false?
I think that could be true.
True. There is a city in Turkey called Batman.
That sounds funny enough to be true, so I'll say true.
True. Pamela Anderson has appeared on Big Brother.
No, she appeared on Dancing on Ice, I think, so I think that's false.
False. And finally, Speak Now and Red are albums by Taylor Swift.
Absolutely no idea. I'll say false.
False. And with time to spare, you've answered all four. How did that round feel?
Oh, who knows? Who
Really?
knows?
Few guesses in there,
exactly, yeah.
Before we reveal how well you've done, time to bring back those usual suspects. So, usual suspects, these were the four statements, and next to them are Richard's answers. Dan, has he achieved perfection this time?
Question A. Gordon Brown has written a book of fairy tales. I know he's written a couple of books, history books. I'm not sure if he's written a book of fairy tales. It doesn't really ring true.
Shelley, what do you think?
I think Pamela Anderson may have appeared on Celebrity Big Brother, so I might change C from false to true.
All right, Simon, can you find anything wrong with these answers?
Yeah, I think I'll change A. Find it a bit hard to believe.
All right, thank you very much. Richard, the moment of truth. Let's find out how many are correct. Just 1 out of 4. Not quite as good as the last time, is it?
No, not really.
You've let your enemies, the usual suspects, into the game. Usual suspects, can you steal the round? You can see Richard's answers. You need to change 3, but which 3?
Do you two know any that
Yeah.
he's got correct?
I think B. I think there is definitely a city in Turkey called Batman. So
Okay.
if that's definitely right and he said true, then it stands to reason that the other 3 are...
What do you want to do?
Yeah, leave B as it is and
Yeah,
change the
change.
others.
Okay, we'd like to change A from true to false, please, Nick.
A from true to false,
C from false to true,
C from false to true,
and D from false to true.
and D from false to true, leaving B as answered by Richard. Usual suspects, let's find out what the correct answers are. Gordon Brown has written a book of fairy tales. Is that true or false? Yeah, it's false. He hasn't, is the easy answer to that. There is a city in Turkey called Batman. Is that true or false? Yeah, that's true. So you know where this is going now, don't you, usual suspects? Pamela Anderson has appeared on Big Brother. True or false? Yeah, that's true. And Speak Now and Red are albums by Taylor Swift. True or false? That's true. Congratulations, usual suspects. You have achieved perfection. Well, Richard, the usual suspects have succeeded where you failed and they've stolen the round. Let's see the final board. Richard has already chosen the first 2. You get to add the next 2. So which 2 do you fancy?
You mentioned one that he wasn't too keen on. Which was that?
That was beards, I think,
Beards,
wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perhaps we should pop that in there.
Don't think he's bluffing?
It's a bit of a double bluff,
We'll
isn't
find
it?
out.
True.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll find out. Beards, please, Nick.
Beards goes into the final. And one more.
What about racecourses or wine? Because they could be quite obscure. Go on.
Go for wine.
Wine, please, Nick.
Wine goes into the final. Thank you very much. Congratulations, usual suspects. You've won the second round. It's time to switch you off, but we'll see you in round 3, and away they go. Was it a bluff or double bluff?
Yeah, I'm a big Beards fan.
Yes.
Yeah, really into Beards, so
Not
yeah.
quite sure
no
how
problem
you
at
can
all.
be
Yeah.
a Beards fan, but
No,
there you
I'm
go.
Big time.
Wine? How much
Wine, yeah, no, not too good on wine, actually.
So that was
No.
a good decision by them, bad for you. OK, if you're ready, let's play round 3. Your 45 seconds start now. Jimi Hendrix fought in the Vietnam War.
I think that's false. Jimi Hendrix didn't fight in the Vietnam War.
False. The word booze was coined by Shakespeare.
Possibly, I'll say true for that.
True. International Left-Handers Day takes place in August.
Who knows? True.
True. And finally, Prince Edward was born in Kenya.
I don't think Prince Edward was born in Kenya. I'll say false.
False. And with time to spare, you've answered all 4. How did that feel?
Left-handers Day. I've never even heard of it. So.
Well, you said who would know. I
Yeah.
presume left-handers. Are you
Possibly,
right,
yeah.
right or left-handed?
I'm right-handed.
That might explain it.
Yeah,
then,
well,
mightn't
there you go.
it? All right, before we reveal how well you've done, it's time for us to bring back the usual suspects. So these were the 4 statements, and next to them are Richard's answers. Shelley, has he achieved perfection?
I'm not sure. I don't think he has, no. It seems to me unlikely that Shakespeare would have coined the word booze, so I think I would change that from true to false.
Dan, what do you think?
I'm with Shelley on that one. I think the word booze was originally a Dutch word, which predated Shakespeare. So I too would change that from true to false.
OK, that's the moment of truth. You need to have answered all 4 statements correctly. Let's find out how many are correct. Three out of 4's not bad.
Yeah.
but it's not perfection. And as a result, the usual suspects are back in the game. You can steal the round. You need to change one answer. I don't think this is going to be a long discussion, is it? Which one do you want to change?
Are we all in agreement about B?
I think so.
Change that.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that
I'm
one.
happy with that.
Can we change B from true to false, please? Nick?
B changes from true to false, leaving A, C and D as answered by Richard. Usual suspects. Let's find out what the correct answers are. Jimi Hendrix fought in the Vietnam War. Is that true or false? It is false, although he was briefly in the US Army from 1961 until 1962, when he was discharged on the basis of unsuitability for the army. OK, moving on. The word booze was coined by Shakespeare. Is that true or false? Yeah, that's false. And for exactly the reason you said, actually, Dan, it was coined before Shakespeare. International Left-Handers Day takes place in August. Is that true or false? Yep, that's true. And finally, Prince Edward was born in Kenya. Is that true or false? It is false. Congratulations, usual suspects. You have achieved perfection. Prince Edward was, in fact, born in Buckingham Palace. So, let's see the final board. First two categories chosen by Richard, second two categories chosen by the usual suspects, and because you won that round, you get to choose the last two as well. So which two do you want Richard to play in the final?
Do you think he knows much about politics? Westminster, is that right?
That's fine by me.
Okay. We'll go for Westminster, please, Nick.
Westminster goes in. I need one more from you.
You suggested race courses, didn't you? What do you think about that?
Happy with that?
Race courses?
And race courses,
Yeah.
please.
And race courses makes up the sixth and final category. We now know our six final categories. They are Daniel Craig, 80s music, beards, wine, Westminster, and race courses. OK, guys, time to switch you off for the final time. What do you make of those last two, then?
Westminster, it could be the place Westminster rather than when they're talking about politics. Race courses, yeah, that's a bit of a duff one for me.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, Richard, for £1,000, it's time to play the final. Richard, this is the all-important final. If you can achieve perfection, you could be leaving with a prize fund of £1,000. If you fail, you'll be leaving with nothing, which is great news for the usual suspects, as one of them could be playing for a rollover of £2,000 on the next game. So, let's play the final round. Richard, here are your final six categories. They are Daniel Craig, 80s music, beards, wine, Westminster, and racecourses. Now, you must answer all six statements perfectly if you want to win the £1,000. Think carefully. There's no time limit, but once you've given an answer, your first answer, it's locked in. Are you ready?
Yeah, ready?
Right, let's reveal your first statement. Please tell me whether you believe it to be true or false. Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig appeared in Shakespeare in Love.
I haven't seen that film. I'm going to say false.
False. 80s music. Hall & Oates' first names were Derek and Jeff.
I have absolutely no idea. Derek Hall, Jeff Oates. I'm going to say false.
False. Beards.
Yes, beards.
The world's longest beard is over 3 feet long.
I'm going to say true because I think I've seen somewhere a guy in India that's got his beard all the way down to his feet, so
True.
I think that's true, yeah.
Wine. The USA produces more wine annually than France.
I think just based on pure mass of country and people drinking wine, I'm going to say that that is... The USA does produce more wine than France, so I'd say true.
True. Westminster. The Houses of Parliament have a shooting range.
I don't think that's very politically correct for members of Parliament to have a shooting range. I'm going to say false.
False. And finally, racecourses. The Lord Sefton stand is at Aintree Racecourse.
Oh, so they do the Grand National at Aintree. Have I ever heard of them mention the Lord Sefton stand? No, I haven't, so I'll just say false.
False. And with that, all those answers are locked in. Remember, if there's one single mistake, you leave with nothing. So which ones are you unsure of?
All of them.
OK, that's narrowed that down for us. Let's bring back the usual suspects and see what they have to say. Usual suspects, you can now see the final 6 statements, and next to them are Richard's answers. Richard, your answers are now locked in and you can't change them by yourself, but if you think you've made a mistake, you can unlock them with the help of the usual suspects. This will, however, come at a cost. So, Richard, who would you like to hear from first?
Let's start with Simon, since he's been here the longest.
I think you've definitely got one wrong. Although, to be honest, like, the amount of money on offer isn't enough to tempt me down.
OK, who would you like to hear from next?
Shelley, why not?
There's one that I think is definitely wrong. A couple I'm not sure of, but unfortunately, I'm sorry, the prize fund just isn't enough for me to come down.
This prize fund is killing you at the moment, isn't it?
Sorry, Richard.
That's life, isn't it?
So, Dan?
Yeah, why not, Dan? Yeah.
I think you've got a couple wrong, but as with the others, it's a sheer matter of economics.
OK, so you're saying no, are you, Dan?
Reluctantly, because, you know, he's a good guy, but reluctantly, no.
All right, doesn't mean you're wrong, just because they think you don't
No,
got one wrong.
I think I've smashed it, to be honest.
Yeah, you could be walking out of here with £1,000. Richard, none of the usual suspects are willing to help. You're on your own, £1,000 at stake. 6 answers away. Let's find out if you achieve perfection. Right, starting at the top. Actually, you chose your first 2 categories
I
yourself,
did,
didn't
yeah.
you? OK, so Daniel Craig appeared in Shakespeare in Love. You said this was false. Is it true or is it false? It is false. Very well done. Hall & Oates' first names were Derek and Jeff. You have to think about this. In the end, decided Derek and Jeff just didn't sound right for pop stars, so you went for false. Is it true or is it false? Yeah, it is false. Daryl and John. Daryl Hall and John Oates.
No, that's right, yeah.
The world's longest beard is over 3 feet long. You think you know someone in India?
I don't know him personally, no. Yeah,
But you've seen someone in India.
Oh, yes, you know, I think I could grow a beard 3 feet long, so I don't see why someone else can't, so.
So you went for true.
Yeah.
If you're right, you've got halfway to the £1,000 on your own. True or false? Yeah, it's true. 7 feet 9 inches is the record, in actual fact. The USA produces more wine annually than France. Now, this you said was true based on sheer numbers and mass of country was what you were going for, wasn't it? It kind of makes sense. Is that true or false? It's false, I'm afraid. It's about 1.5 to 2 times more than the USA is produced by France. So I'm afraid it means that you're not going to be walking away with the £1,000. Maybe you can still achieve perfection at home. So let's take a look at the rest of those answers. The Houses of Parliament have a shooting range. You thought this was politically incorrect, and so they probably wouldn't. Is it true or false? Yeah, they have got one, actually. And the Lord Sefton stand is at Aintree Racecourse. You said this was false. Is it true or false? It's actually true. Yeah. So in the end, 3 out of 6.
Well, they're all guesses, so sort of 50-50. It stands to reason, really.
It kind of does, really, doesn't it? Usual suspects, that's good news for you. The prize fund rolls over to the next game, where one of you could be playing for a total of £2,000. Did you enjoy the game?
Yeah, very good. Good day, yeah.
It was quite quick, wasn't it? Straight in, straight out.
That's the way I like it.
OK, thank you very much for playing. Let's hear it for everybody. That's all we have time for. Please join us again next time when our usual suspects have the chance to play again, this time for £2,000. It's a tough one to win this, but as you saw in the first game, we will pay for perfection. Cheerio.